ใช่
Okay, we are done with the rules and the regulations. We can now head on off into the heart of our studio where some of Hollywood's biggest names come to work every single day. And the road that we're taking to get there, we here at the Biz refer to as timeline. Why? Because if you look to your left and your right, you're going to notice these movie posters here, which represent just a fraction of the thousands of films we have made here at Universal over the years. From our classic Universal monster movies like Dracula and Frankenstein, to our Academy Award winners like The Sting and Gladiator, and then all the way to the big blockbusters such as Jaws, E.T., the Back to the Future series, and of course, the Jurassic Park series. We are the biggest, the busiest, the most famous, the most active, and the oldest film and television studio in the world. More productions have been done down here in our lot than anywhere else on the planet. We've been making and facilitating projects here for over 106 years. It was on March 15, 1915 that our founder, Carl Lemley, cut the ribbon opening on what used to be a chicken ranch to what he called the strangest city on earth, Universal City, which has evolved beyond features into television, theme parks, streaming services. Everything that you know about Universal began down here in our lot. We're going to be exploring the two sections of our lot today, the back lot and the front lot. We are going to start with the front lot. Now the front lot, it contains mainly sound stages. We have 28 sound stages that go along the entire lot, really mostly interiors, the insides of places, but we can fake the outside inside them because we can control the lights, the sound, even the weather in these magical places. Want to know what they look like? We're very excited. Take a look to your left. You'll see they look like that. Big round buildings. Yeah, great way to start Victoria's Area Building 42 is where Ted Danson currently is filming his new comedy, Mr. Mayor. And we're coming upon Soundstage 44, one of two sound stages that was used for 4 seasons. They have wrapped their series. It was used for those 4 years by the television series Good Girls, which starred Retta, who of course played Donna Meagle in Parks and Recreation. And across from 44, our very first celebrity sighting of the day, holding that delicious-looking dirty martini, it is my Thunder Buddy for life, Ted, the star of Ted and Ted 2, who is standing in front of these production bungalows here on your left.
I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up in the ditch. And Com literally does it. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island, and it's great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D. Okay, glasses on, everybody. We're back to Skull Island.
It's incredible. Oh man, the bird!
our Metro sets. They do it about almost every season. Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., episodes of How I Met Your Mother, the entirety of the Mindy Project starring Mindy Kaling, and Rutherford Falls starring Ed Helms, who played Annie Bernard. On The Office, they currently filmed down here. Films that have used these sets: Captain America: The First Avenger did some filming in our Metro sets. The entire air was turned into Chicago for the Blues Brothers, starring Dan Aykroyd, the late John Belushi. And as we make the turn, I want you to take a look past this intersection here. On your right-hand side, you'll see the area with the trees and the bushes and the grassy area there. Looks like a little small town. That is the area known as Courthouse Square. You know it as Hill Valley from Back to the Future. And the way that we're able to turn this area into New York, or Chicago, or any big city we want in the world, is because the area is made up of what we call facades and practicals. Facade means false front. We only build the fronts and the sides and the structures, only what the camera needs to see. So you walk through most of the doorways here to lead to absolutely nowhere. For example, take a look at the stairs over there on your right-hand side. That is the street known as Brownstone Street. You may recognize it as the front of Kevin McAllister's Aunt and Uncle's place in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. We just needed to establish the outside of that building when he runs in, and then the inside where he wreaks havoc on the Wet Bandits. We built all of that inside of a soundstage. Now, sometimes we don't need all of that space from a soundstage, so we'll use what is called a practical set. Practical set means there's a larger interior room or rooms, and filmmakers can film on the inside and outside, much more convenient. They can stay in one space, seamlessly move in and out. They don't have to drag all that equipment to a soundstage, build all new sets. And we'll get to a few more examples of those later on in the tour. But each one of these facades and practicals stands over 50 feet tall to give the illusion that they are as tall as the buildings inside the cities they represent. And as I said before, we can turn the area into any big city we want in the world. The area was London in the 1800s for Bram Stoker's Dracula, starring Gary Oldman and Winona Ryder. It was also London in the 60s for Austin Powers' The Spy Who Shagged the Television, even if we're on the inside of one of our sound stages. We're going to get that help from my man Steve up there in the booth. What's going on, Steve? And as you can see and hear, Steve in the booth has got our effects going for us. Thunder from speakers on either side, lightning from strobe lights. And now Steve's going to turn the water on, pushing water into the sprinklers, shooting in the air. As it falls to earth, it breaks apart naturally to look like rain. That way we can turn the weather on or off, make it as heavy or light as we need. We can isolate it to just one spot, even if we're indoors. Unlike the real weather, which is just going to do what it wants to do when it wants to do it, because real weather is uncontrollable. Alright, Steve, you can turn the water on now, let go! Star Trek fans will be excited to know that Old Mexico here was used in the series Star Trek Picard, starring Patrick Stewart. This was part of the Romulan refugee site in that too. Steve! Hey, you remember what happened the last time you got the water running? Well, that's exactly what happened. Attention, everyone, if you're sitting in a blue seat, we get better. Thank you, Steve. Folks, that is our flash flood simulation where I'm sure you're all kind of thinking the same thing right now. One is, that felt pretty good. It's kind of hot out there. And two, man, you people waste a lot of water around here. We know this year. Thousands of gallons of recycled water. And all of our Universal Monster movies were filmed in the area we're headed next. The area known as Little Europe. These are also some of the oldest sets in our backlot. And as we make the turn into Little Europe, fans of The Good Place are going to realize that Little Europe is a good place.
You, Eleanor Shellstrop, are dead.
Cool.
This location, the afterlife, come on. I've never ever seen this. You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here. I can't risk going to the bad place.
Maybe it's not all that bad.
How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
The scene that ended that clip filmed over on your left-hand side there on this corner piece. If you look inside, you can see that's a great example of a practical set. They filmed on the inside and outside of that structure there. And as we make the turn, we're going to pass the railway station on The Good Place that will take you to the good, the bad, and the in-between. It is also where a realtor disembarked the train and walked across the street here into the area over on the right-hand side, the area known as the Port of Miracles, originally built for the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And that realtor was crossing into the of miracles to get to Castle Dracula. This was one of the first pieces of Little Europe to be built. The rest of Little Europe would be built around it after the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and we would film all of our Universal Monster movies. Anytime you saw angry villagers marching through the streets carrying their pitchforks and torches, chasing down whatever presumably the beast is of amity, which of course was setting to Jaws, directed by Steven Spielberg. Now this is a recreation of the filming location of Martha's Vineyard, where they filmed Jaws. We like to bring guests here from time to time. It's very safe, shark-free waters, except for that fin that's now circling. Let me ask the young gentleman in car number 2 to please take his seat. Did he just say something? Oh, no. Wait a second, that's Steve! What? Hey, Steve! You just gonna wrestle that shark anyway, huh? Well, give me this! You certainly got guts! There they are! Ah, Scuba Steve! I'm going to ask everyone to please remain in their seats as we arrive at a safer spot, which I'm being told is only 30 feet down this dock behind these large barrels of gasoline. Sure. Well, say hello, give it a big one. Welcome back, kids, to Jaws! Don't worry, you're in no real danger. We have one of the best trained sharks in the business. Watch this. Hey, shark! Back up! And there it goes. Now, our shark here works pretty much all the time. However, that wasn't necessarily the case with the shark Steven Spielberg used during filming. He never got a chance to test his shark in the open water before production began. You're right inside. You're going to see this beautiful fine home here. That house is the Chicken Ranch from the best little whorehouse in Texas during the global treasure that is Dolly Parton. Rob Zombie used it as well for his cult classic House of 1,000 Corpses. That was the Firefly house there. And it's been announced that Rob Zombie will be doing the feature film version of The Munsters. Yes, the television series that filmed right here in our lot from way back when, getting the Rob Zombie treatment. The house from The Munsters is located on the street over on your left-hand side, Colonial Street, where they have been filming a portion of the television show Keenan today. That's his neighborhood on the show and where the outside of his house is.